The NFL draft is less than a week away, and with that, it's time to talk some NFL trades. Now, obviously, there's a lot that could happen, and draft night is crazy, but ESPN released one trade for every single team in the National Football League, and we're going to talk about the Chiefs in a couple of these. We appreciate you watching here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Jace Andrews. Two trades involve the Chiefs, including their own, so the other one obviously with another team. We'll tell you all about them throughout this video, but if you're as excited about the NFL draft as I am, get in the comments, type me, lets me know that you're pumped, and I know that we have pick 32. It's going to be a long night on Thursday waiting for that pick, but hey, it's going to be a fun one. We could have a potential to see Adonai Mitchell as a Chief in less than a week. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty exciting, or pretty much any wide receiver we could get. Hey, offensive tackle, wouldn't mind that too. Let's start with the Cowboys because that was the trade the Chiefs were involved in besides their own. Now, currently, Dallas owns the number 24 overall pick in the NFL draft. And so, ESPN had a trade. This is what they did. The Chiefs received the round 1 pick number 24 from the Cowboys, and in return, they would give up round 1 pick number 32, round 3 pick number 95, and round 5 pick 159. I do want you to remember, this is a Dallas-based trade. This is one the Cowboys would try to make. However, they did have a section in the article in this part of it, specifically talking about why this could be wise for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's what Bill Barnwell said, the ESPN reporter who wrote this, quote, "The defending champs moved up from number 29 to number 22 2 years ago when they sent 2 picks to the Patriots and landed cornerback Trent McDuffie. The Chiefs were flush with selections then by virtue of Tyreek Hill trade, which isn't the case any longer. This would be the move up to address a critical position, left tackle, where Donovan Smith is a free agent and Wanya Morris didn't impress as a rookie. Jumping the Packers and Ravens makes sense if there's somebody Kansas City trusts to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side," end quote. I think it's interesting in this part because he's suggesting the Chiefs trade up for an offensive tackle. And if you've watched this show for the past couple weeks or months, you know that I've said this the same way all throughout it. Do not trade up if you're going to get an offensive tackle. I do not feel the people at 24, 25 are going to be so much better than the guy you're going to get at 32. That's my personal opinion, but obviously I know that there are people that maybe don't believe that, and there are some guys that are not going to be available at 32. The first 3 here, I can almost guarantee, will not be there at the Chiefs' actual pick. Amarius Mims, the Georgia guy who's really big, really strong. I've told you I like him, but again, you're trading up for him. Graham Barton, same thing. Very big, very strong, would be a really good left tackle, by the way. He's been really great, obviously protecting a couple guys at Duke. Tyler Guyton, one that I like. He's a little bit on the smaller side, in my opinion, so I'm not going to go really all out for him, the offensive lineman from Oklahoma. And then Jordan Morgan, who I do think actually may be there at 32. He's kind of the questionable one. I think the thing is, if a tackle starts to fall that you really want, maybe I would do it. Maybe I would consider that. Because if you think about this entirety of the trade, you're going for an offensive tackle. That's what he's trying to put across here. And so, if Amarius Mims is at 24, maybe I'd do that because that guy is probably worth a, in my opinion, top 20 pick. So if he's 4 picks out of top 20, maybe go get him. Graham Barton, similar situation. I think that guy's a top 20 offensive tackle, even in what is an amazing offensive tackle draft. So maybe you do that. Even a name that I didn't mention, Troy Fautanu. If he falls out of there, there's a ton of guys who I think will be selected, but obviously during the NFL draft, things happen and guys fall that you don't expect. Will Levis was supposed to be a top 10 pick. He was picked in the 2nd round. You never know what's going to happen. And so in that case scenario, Brett Veach can kind of play it by ear and therefore maybe trade up if somebody who is worth trading up for is at that slot. Let's ask your opinion on this trade, though, because I think it's an important one to hear what the fans have to say. What would you grade this trade with the Dallas Cowboys? You can see the ins and outs of it right there. An A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. A obviously being yes, do it. F being not worth it. C being average. And then B or D if you're kind of in between there. Let's look at the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs because I feel like that's important to mention. Now, Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Juwan Taylor. Those are your starters. They're going to be there. I doubt they're going to be replaced at all this season. Wanya Morris continues to be the question. Why? Because Donovan Smith was the left tackle last year. And you didn't see too much of Wanya Morris. And when you did, he wasn't anything impressive. However, I kind of take a back step to this and say, well, he also wasn't bad. A third-round pick that was honestly pretty solid against a Packers team in his first start in the NFL on a cold night in Green Bay, that's not terrible. And whenever Donovan was out, he played overall okay. I'm not saying I trust him fully, but again, I don't know if I'm trading up for an offensive tackle because I feel that bad about him. I'm not to that point just yet. But maybe Brett Veach is. Obviously, they see the team more than I do. They see the team in and out every single day. Maybe there's something that concerns them, and that's why they feel they need to trade up and go get that. We'll have to wait and see, though. Make sure you're checking out all the links down below. But hey, we got a special one for you this time. 25% off for the Super Bowl long sleeve. You can go to chatsports.com/SBLS Super Bowl long sleeve. It's a really cool shirt. I keep continuing to tell you, this is a really, really good deal, first of all, because you don't see that yellow Chiefs logo a lot. Super soft, super comfy. I honestly really like this one. Chatsports.com/SBLS. You're going to get 25% off right now. It's a deal that won't last long, and I promise you, you won't regret it, because who wants to support the Chiefs and show, hey, guess what? We are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. And this one, you can even show who you beat as well. Once again, chatsports.com/SBLS. We'll have that link in the comments and the description to get 25% off. Let's go to the Chiefs trade. Obviously, I mentioned that was the Dallas Cowboys edition of the ESPN trade. But the Chiefs obviously did have their own. I think it's important to mention theirs because that one is going to be more focus-based, more toward what the Chiefs actually need and maybe are more willing to do. In this trade, it was with the Arizona Cardinals, and I think we've seen this one similar, or at least going up to this slot a couple different times. The Chiefs would receive round 1 pick number 27, and round 6 pick number 186, sending to Arizona their first round pick at number 32, and round 3 number 95. When I saw this, my initial reaction was that I liked this trade better than the Dallas Cowboys one, just because you're not giving up a 1-to-3 ratio here. You're not giving up 3 picks to get 1 in return. That being said, I think this one could be maybe a little better, but let's see what happens and what do they exactly say and why this would be better. Once again, Bill Barnwell talking about it, saying, quote, if the Chiefs want to add a wide receiver in round 1, they might want to get ahead of their arch rivals from Buffalo, who pick at number 28, and have a wide open depth chart after trading Stephon Diggs and losing Gabe Davis in free agency. Moving up 5 spots would be in Kansas City GM Brett Veach's range, and while it would cost the Chiefs a third-round pick, beating the Bills to the punch for a wideout who's separated from the pack of Kansas City's board would both help the Chiefs and potentially harm one of their biggest rivals, end quote. So, obviously this one is for a wide receiver, which, again, why I like this better initially. I think that is a very important key fact to kind of take in here. I'm all aboard the wide receiver train, especially with the situation going on with Rashee Rice. So who would be available at pick 27? You're trading up 5 slots. What would be there? Well, Adonai Mitchell is probably going to be there. Done a couple drafts where I see him there. Troy Franklin, going to be there. He could potentially be at 32, though. And Xavier Legette. But we've seen him picked at 32 there as well. I think there's only one true trade up here. So if I'm Brett Veach and I'm looking at this board, Adonai is the one that I am going to trade up for because he's not going to be there at 32. He won't. The Cardinals will take him. The Bills will take him. Somebody will grab him before 32. However, I think he will be there at 27. Done a lot of mock drafts, done a lot of looking. It seems as though he's going to be there. I know his stats aren't exceptional. However, his baseline is already better than a lot of wide receivers we've seen, and I think his ceiling could potentially be the best wide receiver in this draft class. Now, obviously, playing with Patrick Mahomes will help that. 845 in 2023 with 11 touchdowns is still very, very good, especially transitioning from Georgia to Texas and having Xavier Worthy in that receiving core as well. He played well, and the biggest thing I like about AD, he comes up in big slots. Played in 5 different playoff games in college. Caught a touchdown in every single one of them. I like that. Again, this wide receiver depth chart is kind of an interesting one because you look at it and you think, oh, well, Jace, Rashee Rice is pretty good. Marquise Brown, He's good, but the problem here is Rice may not be there. We cannot assume he will be playing this year. Hollywood, hopefully there. Kadarius Toney, he's going to stay, whether you like it or not. I don't know if I trust him to be wide receiver number 3, though. And today, Brett Veach even said, I like Kadarius Toney. He is one of the more skilled wideouts we have. They trust him. They do. Whether you like it, whether you not, he's going to be here, and he's developing a relationship with Brett Veach, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes to try and continue that. So, it's going to be an interesting draft to see if they actually get a wide receiver or not. Would you do this trade, though, is the question. Let's start with that. Type Y for yes if you like this one. Type N for no if you're not going to do it. Man, this is an interesting one. Would you accept it? Y for yes, N for no. I would do it. I would. The reason behind it being I have been on Adonai Mitchell since September. And I know that that is somewhat odd in some ways, because why would I be on Adonai when he was projected to be in the second round? I just always liked what I saw from him. And he produced. And now we've seen him in mock drafts. We've seen him be there. And after his 40-yard dash time, where he absolutely blew out of the water compared to what he was supposed to be, I mean, this guy was supposed to be running 4.5. He ran 4.3, 4.35. I'll take that speed as well. So, in that case scenario, I would do it. I think it's a very good trade-up. You add Hollywood Brown, and you get Adonai Mitchell. If Rashee Rice comes back at some point, that's going to be a lethal combo of a 1-2-3. And you go from maybe one of the worst wide receiver rooms we've seen in a long time to maybe one of the better ones we've seen in a long time. It's pretty dang good if you ask me. Either way, we're going to have draft coverage all week long, so make sure you're joining us here on the Chiefs Report and hit that subscribe button. You're not going to miss anything we are doing. We do appreciate hanging out with us, and for now, Chiefs Kingdom, peace out.